Why does Saturn have rings? What are the different types of clouds? How does an octopus swim? Why does a tiger have stripes? How do flowers grow?
Tell me why. The Video Encyclopedia is a reference work that's designed to show the answers to questions that young people ask. All materials used in this work are based upon the best-selling book series by Arkady Leokum.
What is a mammal?
A mammal is the most advanced of all the different classes of animal life. They are also the animals that we know best and include dogs, cats, rabbits, horses, cows, pigs, elephants, bears, mice, and human beings. And there are hundreds of other kinds of mammals. Mammals have certain characteristics, some of which are shared by other creatures, some of which are not. Mammals are vertebrates, animals with backbones. So are fishes, reptiles, and birds. All mammals have lungs and breathe air. So do birds, reptiles, and many amphibians. All mammals are warm-blooded. So are birds. All mammals, except two primitive types that lay eggs, give birth to living young. So do many fish, reptiles, insects, and other animals. There are two important characteristics that set mammals apart from all other animals. They are the only animals that possess true hair or fur. They are the only animals that produce milk. The word mammal comes from the Latin word mamma, which means breast. All female mammals nurse their young with milk that comes from glands, usually called breasts, on their bodies. Mammals have certain other characteristics. The mammal's lungs and heart are separated from its stomach and intestinal tract by a wall of muscle called the diaphragm. The mammal's lower jaw consists of a single bone on each side, and, most important of all, mammal brains are much more highly developed than the brains of any other animals. While most mammals live on dry land, a few, such as the whale and dolphin, live in the water. Some burrow in the ground, such as the mouse and many rodents, and still others live in trees, such as monkeys and squirrels. The only mammals that can fly are the bats. Scientists have arranged the mammals into a number of smaller divisions or orders. The lowest of these orders, the monotremes, are animals that lay eggs. The next order, the indentates, are toothless mammals. Then come the sea mammals. Then we find the ungulates, or hoofed mammals.
What are whales?
A whale is a water mammal that is descended from ancestors that lived on land. They resemble fish, but live like land animals. A whale's flippers have the bones of a five-fingered hand. Some whales have the bones of hind legs in their flesh. Since the whale has no fur coat to keep it warm, it has a layer of tissue under the skin that is filled with oil. It is called blubber, and it insulates and is as good as a fur coat. Whales have lungs, and they take in air through two nostrils or blowholes on the top of their heads. When a whale reaches the surface, it first blows or exhales the used air from its lungs. Then they take in new air. When they go underwater, these nostrils are closed by little valves so that no air can get in. Whales usually breathe every 5 or 10 minutes, but they may remain underwater for 3/4 of an hour. The biggest whale is the blue whale. It may be more than 100 feet long and weigh 125 tons. It is the largest animal in the world. The blue whale belongs to the group of whales known as the whalebone whales. They have no teeth. They have developed a structure in their mouths made up of hundreds of bony plates known as a baleen. It grows down from the roof of the mouth and forms a sieve. The whale feeds by swimming through a school of its prey, mostly small mollusks, crustaceans, and fish, with its mouth wide open. When it closes its mouth, the water is forced out between the plates, but the food is caught. The mouth of the whale is like a huge bucket. The head is about 1/3 of the length of the body. The largest toothed whale is the sperm whale. It can be 65 feet long. The grampus, or killer whale, is about 30 feet long and catches seals. As a result of the hunting for whales, certain ones like the blue, white, and gray whales are almost extinct.
What are pinnipeds?
Pinnipeds are fin-footed mammals with limbs that they use as paddles or flippers. They are descended from land animals and have not lived in water as long as whales have. The three main kinds of pinnipeds are the walrus, the sea lion, and the seal. They are all carnivores or flesh eaters. All are expert swimmers with bodies that are tapered and streamlined with a thick layer of blubber that gives them added buoyancy in the water and helps keep them warm. Seals cannot live underwater all the time. The young must be born on land. The babies must be taught to swim by their mothers. They like to sun themselves or sleep on beaches or ice floes. On shore, they move by dragging themselves with their fore flippers. Eskimos have used seals for food, clothing, and their oil is used for cooking and light.
What is a manatee?
A manatee looks like a small whale, and it is a mammal, not a fish. The American manatee lives in the rivers of Florida, Mexico, Central America, and the West Indies. It measures from 9 to 13 feet in length. The body is somewhat like a fish, but the tail is quite different. It is broad, shovel-like, horizontal, and has rounded edges. It has a thick skin which is hairless except for whiskers on the upper lip. Manatees live in bays, lagoons, and large rivers, but not in the open sea. As a rule, they prefer to stay in shallow water. When they're not feeding, they lie near the bottom. In deeper water, they often float about with the body arched and rounded back close to the surface, and the head, limbs, and tail hanging down. A grown manatee may weigh as much as 1,500 pounds. Because manatees live in shallow water and are often seen in small herds, they are sometimes called sea cows. Manatees usually give birth to one calf, but sometimes there are twins. Manatees move very slowly and are harmless. Their only enemy is man. Their biggest danger happens when they are in rivers where power boats are being used. Many manatees are injured and killed by boats' propellers. They are on the government's endangered species list.
Is a porpoise a mammal?
There is an order of aquatic mammals which scientists call Cetacea. To this order belongs whales, dolphins, and porpoises. Dolphins are small whales that belong to the toothed-whaled group. A baby porpoise is fed on its mother's milk like other little animals. Porpoises have no gills and breathe air through their lungs. Internally, porpoises have a skeleton, circulatory system, brain, and vital organs that are unlike any fish. The common porpoise is about 5.5 feet long. The head is rounded in front and the underjaw projects slightly. It has a wide mouth containing between 80 and 100 teeth. The porpoise is gray or black in color on the top and white below. It has black flippers. There is something about the structure of the porpoise's vocal cords that enables it to make sounds like a human. But in addition to this, it is believed that the porpoise is among the most intelligent of animals. It also cooperates with people in an amazing way. They are able to invent and play games. This kind of play is considered a sign of intelligence.
What are otters?
The freshwater otter is found in streams and lakes. Its coat is a rich dark brown. This otter is a restless animal that is very shy and is seldom seen by people. This otter lives in a hole dug into the bank of a stream or lake. The hole leads to a den lined with leaves. Here the young, usually 2 or 3 to a litter, are born in late winter or early spring.
How do we get ermine from a weasel?
We think of ermine as a royal fur. At one time in England, only members of the royal family were allowed to wear ermine. Ermine comes from the weasel. It is the white winter coat that certain species of weasel develop. This happens only in cold regions like Canada, Lapland, and Siberia. Weasels are closely related to skunks, minks, and martens. They have short, slender bodies, short legs, sharp clawed feet, and long necks. The common species is the long-tailed weasel. The males are about 16 inches long. The tail is about 4 inches long. The short-tailed weasel is about 2 inches shorter than the long-tailed species. Its tail is about 2 inches long. The weasel is considered a friend of man. They are tireless hunters and destroy vermin, rats, mice, rabbits, and certain birds.
What are marsupials?
Marsupials are a separate order of animal. The name comes from the Greek word marsupion, which means pouch. When the young marsupials are born, they are tiny and helpless. They are raised and fed in a pouch on their mother's body. Even after they have grown to a fair size, marsupials rely on their mother's pouch for protection. Marsupials range in size from tiny mole-like creatures to the giant kangaroo. They live on the ground and dwell in trees. Some eat only vegetables, others are meat eaters and insect eaters. A kangaroo is a marsupial animal. It lives in Australia, and there are more than 120 different kinds of kangaroos. Kangaroos have short front legs with small paws and very long hind legs with one sharp toe in the middle of the foot. With the help of the hind legs, a kangaroo takes jumps of 10 to 15 feet or more. When it is resting, it sits on its big long tail. Kangaroos travel very fast, and their sense of hearing is so good that they can hear an enemy at great distance. Baby kangaroos are called joeys. When they are born, they are in a very helpless state. At birth, a kangaroo is a tiny pink mass, not much more than an inch long, and it's as thick as a lead pencil. The pouch is fur-lined. It keeps the baby warm, protects it, and enables the baby to nurse and provides transportation. A joey rides in the pouch for 6 months. At that time, it is as large as a puppy. Even after the mother has taught it to walk and run, it still lives in the pouch. It rides with its head sticking out far enough for it to pull off leaves when its mother stops to feed on tree branches. Kangaroos are hunted because they kill crops. They're also good for meat, and their skin produces good, strong leather.
Why do opossums hang by their tails?
Opossums are from 9 to 20 inches long, with tails that are 9 to 13 inches long. Their fur is grayish-white in color. Their round ears, long tails, and palms of their feet are hairless. The inside toe of an opossum can be bent like a thumb to meet any other toe. It uses its hind feet as hands. This helps it climb trees. An opossum wraps its tail around a branch, hangs down, and grabs its food by using all 4 feet. The mother opossum carries her young on her back. She brings her tail up, and they wrap their tails around it. When they're about 3 months old, they leave their mother. At the age of 1 year, they are ready to raise families of their own.
How big is the biggest bear?
The largest of all flesh-eating animals are certain bears. A good-sized polar bear or grizzly bear may get up to as much as 900 to 1,000 pounds. The biggest of all bears are the Alaskan brown bears. Some of the males weigh over 1,500 pounds, and when they stand up, they may be 9 feet tall. A bear seems clumsy because of the peculiar way he walks. Bears are flat-footed, which means the heel of the foot rests on the ground, like a man's. When a bear walks, he moves both legs on one side of the body forward at the same time. He seems to have a rolling motion. A bear galloping along on all fours can beat any human runner. Any zookeeper will tell you the bear is among the cleverest and most intelligent of animals. In Europe and America, bears are often trained to perform in the circus. In North America, there are 4 distinct types of bears: the black bear, the grizzly bear, the Alaskan brown bear, and the polar bear. The grizzly bear is the most dangerous American mammal.
Do polar bears hibernate?
The word hibernate comes from the Latin and means winter sleep. Polar bears sleep more in the winter than in summer, but their sleep is not the deep sleep of hibernation. Their temperatures and breathing remain normal. They sleep in hollows or caves in the ice or snow. During warm spells, they venture forth for a day or so. Female polar bears sleep more in winter than the males. They go into dens and are often snowed under for weeks. The cubs are born during this winter sleep and weigh no more than 6 to 8 ounces at birth. The mother bear cares for them for several months during the winter. Hibernating animals are awakened in the spring by the change in temperature, moisture, and by hunger. They crawl out of their dens and start eating again.
What is a giraffe?
A giraffe is the tallest of all living animals. The body of a giraffe is no larger than an average horse. Its tremendous height may reach 20 feet, and it comes mostly from its legs and neck. The neck of a giraffe has only 7 vertebrae, which is what the human neck has. Each giraffe vertebrae is extremely long. Because of this, a giraffe always has a stiff neck. This makes it very difficult for the giraffe to bend its neck. If it wants to take a drink from the ground, it has to spread its legs far apart in order to be able to reach down. The strange shape and build of the giraffe is perfectly suited to enable it to obtain its food. A giraffe eats only plants, so its great height enables it to reach the leaves on trees that grow where there is no grass. A giraffe's tongue is often 1.5 feet long. It has a long upper lip which helps it wrench off many leaves at a time. The giraffe's coloring allows it to hide in the shadows of trees when it is feeding. It has well-developed ears which are sensitive to the slightest sound. A giraffe can gallop at more than 30 miles an hour when pursued and can outrun the fastest horse. When attacked, a giraffe can put up a good fight by kicking out with its hind legs or using its head like a sledgehammer. Even a lion is careful when attacking a giraffe, always approaching from behind. In a giraffe, the voice box or larynx is almost completely undeveloped, so that we can say that most giraffes do not have a voice.
How long can a camel go without water?
Before automobiles and airplanes were invented, there was only one way to travel across the deserts of Asia and Africa. That was by camel. The camel can journey across deserts because of the hump on its back. The hump is made of fat and muscles and serves as a storage place for food. Before a camel starts out on a journey, the master forces it to eat and drink. It eats so much that a hump of about 100 pounds in weight rises on its back. The camel driver forces the camel to drink about 15 gallons of water by giving it salt to make it thirsty. The camel has 3 stomachs. It uses the first one to store food while it is grazing and form it into a cud. In the second stomach are the digestive juices. In the third stomach, the cud is digested. When the camel needs water, muscles that hold the stomach's close open and let out as much water as the camels need. If a camel travels slowly and with a light load, the water in its stomach can last from 6 to 10 days.
What is a hippopotamus?
The word hippopotamus comes from the Latin and means river horse. The animal got this name because it spends most of its time in the water. It may have been called a horse because of its great size or its wide nostrils or its little horse-like ears. The hippo has the biggest mouth of any mammal except the whale. It has 2 tusks in the upper jaw and 4 in the lower jaw. When it attacks, it can kill a smaller animal with 1 bite. Although the hippo is dangerous, it would rather hide than fight. In the water, a hippo can drop out of sight like a stone, or it can float. When it floats, only its bulging nostrils, eyes, and little ears show above the surface. When it sinks, a hippo closes its nostrils to keep the water out. It can walk around on the bottom for up to 9 minutes and gather the juicy water plants it likes to eat. A hippo may eat as much as 100 pounds of food a day, and they usually feed at night. On shore, a hippo can run as fast as a man. The closest living relative to the hippopotamus is the pig. A hippo can be 12 feet long and weigh up to 4 tons.
What is a rhinoceros?
A rhinoceros is an animal that has changed little in over 55 million years. It is a huge grass eater with a single horn-like projection in the area of the nose. Rhinoceros are found in Africa and in the Far East. Marco Polo was the first man to bring reports of the rhinoceros to Europe when he returned from his journey to China. He called it a keelcorn because of the single horn. It is believed that the legend of the unicorn came from people who saw this animal from afar.
What are elephants?
Today, the elephant is one of the largest animals on Earth. It is a mammal and lives in large family groups. These groups, or herds, are led by an older female. The herd wanders to visit favorite food areas at different times of the year. During the dry season, they migrate into forests and stay close to a good supply of food. Elephants start the day with a drink and a bath. Then, they spend the day feeding and resting in the cool shade. Elephants have poor eyesight, but they have a keen sense of smell. Elephants are noted for their large ears, which have three purposes. They have a keen sense of hearing, and the ears make it easy to capture every sound. Second, the ears are used to fan the body and to chase away insects which like to irritate or bite the animal. And third, the large ears cool the body. As blood circulates through the many veins, it is cooled by the outside air. It returns to the body cooled and provides a kind of air conditioning. This is important since the elephant lives near the equator in Africa and India. African elephants are very large with big ears. Indian elephants are smaller and have small ears. Elephants are noted for their tusks, which are used as tools for digging. They use them to strip the bark off trees and to move objects out of their way. Elephants also have teeth which continue to grow as the upper surface is worn down by the constant grinding of food. The elephant's trunk is an extension of the nose and upper lip and serves as a hand, arm, nose, and lips all in one. The trunk has 40,000 muscles and is very strong and flexible. At the tip of the trunk, there is a sort of finger which is so sensitive that it can pick up a small pin. The trunk serves as a hand to gather food which it places in its mouth. The elephant can drink by sucking water through tubes in its trunk. Then, it curls the trunk inward and shoots water down its throat. It can also treat itself to a shower by squirting water from its trunk over its back. Despite legends, no one has ever seen a white elephant. In ancient times, lighter elephants were considered sacred because they were so rare. Only kings were allowed to own them. They were provided with costly luxuries. They never worked and lived in special quarters with their own servants. That's where we get the term white elephant. It means something expensive to keep up while you get nothing in return.
What are bats?
Bats are mammals that have been in existence for 60 million years. Bats vary in size from a wingspread of 6 inches to a wingspread of 6 feet. Many bats live on insects, but there are many who live on fruit, fish, other bats, or blood. Scientists couldn't explain how bats were able to fly at great speed in the darkness, so they made certain experiments. They hung ropes close together from the ceiling in a room. They closed up the eyes of several bats with gum and let them loose in the room. The bats flew at their normal speed without bumping into a single obstacle. The scientists sealed up their ears and mouths and let them loose in the same room. This time, the bats flew about helplessly, bumping into obstacles many times. As a bat flies, it utters a continuous sound, so high-pitched that the human ear can't hear it. These high-frequency sound waves strike the obstacles in the bat's path and echo back to its ears. The bat's wings are very sensitive and react instantly to these signals, and the bat is able to change its course and avoid flying into the obstacles. There are nearly 2,000 different kinds of bats. They live in every part of the world except the polar regions. The blood-eating bats are called vampire bats, and it is because of them that many people are so frightened of all bats. During the early 18th century, explorers who traveled to South and Central America found bats that fed on blood. They came back with exaggerated stories, and soon all the old vampire legends became associated with bats. The North American bats have grinding teeth with sharp edges, with a V shape which they use to eat insects with a hard shell. The fruit-eating bats have broad, flat, grinding teeth to crush the juices from fruit. Bats may have from 20 to 38 teeth. The limbs and feet of a bat are not suited to walking. This means they cannot stand easily. When a bat is in its roost, the easiest thing for it to do is to hang on, head down.
What is a primate?
A primate is any member of the most highly developed order of animals. This order ranges from lemurs, monkeys, and the apes to the highest level, that of man. Primates are covered with hair, usually live in trees, and have nails instead of claws on each of 5 fingers and toes. Primates are divided into 4 general groups: the lemurs, the Old World monkeys, including baboons, leaf monkeys, and others; the New World monkeys, including the spiders, howlers, marmosets, and others; and the apes. Lemurs are the most primitive member of the primate family. They are found in Madagascar, Africa, and parts of Asia. At one time, they lived in America and Europe, where their fossil remains have been found. Lemurs have long, fox-like faces and a long claw instead of a nail on the second toe. They live in trees and don't survive well in captivity. They live on fruit, seeds, insects, birds' eggs, or meat. One of the Old World monkeys is the mandrill baboon. It lives in West Africa and is marked by a short tail and a large head. The muzzles are long and have facial ridges running down the nose. Mandrills can weigh up to 100 pounds. They live in family groups and feed on fruit, nuts, plants, and smaller animals. A marmoset is an example of a New World monkey. Marmoset is a French word. Marmoset, that means mannequin. They have smooth brains, simple teeth arrangements, and claws on their hands and feet. Gorillas are the largest apes, as tall as a man and heavier and more powerful. Gibbons are the smallest and the least man-like. The chimpanzee is more intelligent than the others, imitates human ways more readily, is more responsive to training, and is quite sociable. The orangutan is noted for its long arms. The span can be up to 7 feet, and the arms and hands are well-muscled and powerful. The orangutan is covered with reddish-brown fur and is highly intelligent. Its favorite diet is tropical fruit.
A wide range of subjects are available in this series now. Let's look at some of the questions that are covered in the Tell Me Why programs. Weather.
A tornado is a special kind of cyclone. It arises when conditions that cause ordinary thunderstorms are unusually violent. There is an updraft of air. There are winds blowing.
Flowers.
A flower has a fragrance when certain essential oils are found in the petals. These oils are produced by the plant as part of its growing process.
Space.
Distances to the stars are so great that a unit for measuring distances was worked out. It's called a light year, and it is the distance that light travels in 1 year.
Water.
Water is a simple compound of 2 gases: hydrogen, a very light gas, and oxygen, a heavier active gas. When hydrogen is burned in oxygen, water is formed.
Gems.
When minerals are better, rarer, clearer, or more crystalline than others, they are called gems. Gems are the most prized and famous of all minerals. Diamonds, emeralds, rubies, and sapphires stand out as the true gems.
Ask for the additional volumes by subject from your dealer. They're available now.